am so glad to see you guys logged on. Welcome, welcome. It is again good to see you guys logged on. This is Empowered Life Lunch to Learn, Leadership Lunch and Learn. I won't keep you guys long. I appreciate you spending this lunch period with me. I won't keep you guys long, but I see several of you guys have logged on. Good to see the EPs. Always good to see you guys are so faithful. Thank you guys so much for the Queen being with us. Good to see you guys logged on as well. And I see Claudia as well logged on. Thank you so much for joining us. I have some principles, leadership principles, that if followed, it promises to uh, aid you and get you to the next level. And so let's jump right into it. I am sensitive that you guys are on your lunch break, and I hope you have something good to snack on, something good to eat. Again, we're going to jump excuse me, we're going to jump right into it. Today, we're going to talk about closing the growth gap, growing administered purposely, that gap. And here's what I'm saying as far as gap, growing administered purposely. We are going to grow on purpose. We're growing on purpose. Good to see you, Elroy. Always good to see you. So we decided we're going to close that the growing gap. And so we're growing and we're administrating it on purpose. As you can see, kind of behind me, if I lean to the left or lean to the right, you'll see living intentionally forward every day. That's what we say the acronym for life is. We intend to live intentionally forward every day. And so that's what we're going to look at, closing the growth gap. And so I have 8. Let's see how many we can get to or through today. And I promise you it's going to help you even go to the next level. The first gap, the assumption gap. Number 1, the assumption gap. And this is what we're talking about. I assume I will automatically grow. I assume that the assumption gap is when you assume that you're going to automatically grow. Now, here's what I say all of the time. There's 2 types of growth. There is natural growth and there is nurtured growth. Remember this. There is natural growth. That's when, hopefully, when a person has a baby, let's use that example. And that baby, as long as they're being fed and cared for, they will naturally grow to the degree that the doctor measures the baby head, they measure the baby weight, they measure to make sure, listen to this, they measure to make sure that the baby is growing properly. That's called natural growth, natural growth. But there's a second one, nurtured growth. Nurtured growth is when you nurture, like nurturing the baby to make sure the baby is being fed the right kind of milk, the right kind of nourishment, to make sure that child grows not just naturally, but nurtured as well. And depending on the level of the nurturing is going to depend on how healthy that child is as they grow. So now watch this, as it relates to businesses, finances, and all areas of your life. How much intentionality are you exerting as it relates to growth, your growth? And say, because what we're doing is we're closing the growth gap. We're making sure that we're doing and we're living a life on purpose and intentionally, that we are growing. Remember the 2 types of growth, natural growth, nurtured growth. Any business left unattended will be a failing and soon closing business. Anything left attended will soon fail. And here on Empowered Life, we're here to see you succeed. We're your biggest cheerleader. I'm right there in your corner, willing and ready and capable of helping you to grow. not just naturally, but nurtured as well. And so that's the assumption gap. So we're no longer going to assume that we're just going to grow like a baby or a plant or anything else. No, 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 no. We're going to close that gap. We're going to nurture that growth. Nurture that growth. Number two, the knowledge gap. And that is, I don't know how to grow. And that's why I'm here. I am here to assist you and to help you. I am your certified speaker, coach, and trainer, here to fill in the gap, to walk alongside, to facilitate your growth. And so that knowledge gap is when you assume that you don't know how to grow. And that's why we're giving you the information, the proper books to read, all of the different things that you need to help you to grow. And so don't assume that you don't know how to grow, because get yourself a personal coach, get yourself a mentor, somebody who can show you, somebody who has proven principles that can help you grow. And so we're closing that gap. We're growing, administered purposely, the knowledge gap. And so the average person, watch this. The two things that I just told you on number one, the average person think that their growth is going to be natural, but it won't. Unless you are intentional about your growth, unless you are reading the right books, doing the right studying, it won't naturally happen, because we have the propensity and proclivity to do what our flesh, and if you allow me to use it that way, our flesh can make us convenient. It can push us into convenient, and push us, matter of fact, out of growth. And you want to do that. You want to do the things that you need to do, make the necessary adjustment that you will assure your growth. And so that's the gap we want to close. That's the gap we want to close, that knowledge gap. So how do I close the knowledge gap? And I know you got it, but watch this. As simple as this point I'm about to make is, let's say it anyway. To close the knowledge gap is simple. Get more knowledge, not just any kind of knowledge. You don't just feed a child anything, but you feed the child, you nurture the child. So you feed the child the things that can help it grow. The same thing with you. Read the books, do the studying of the things that will help and benefit your growth. And you can close that gap, not all in once. It's not like that, but it's incrementally. It's little by little, every day, every week, every month. Get yourself a growth plan. And when you get yourself a proper growth plan, just like the doctor, watch this again. When you bring your baby to the doctor, because when you first have a child, the doctor gives you an appointment to make sure, watch this, and I'll say this, no pun intended, make sure that you're not killing the child. Can I make this statement? When you have a coach, a mentor, a person who can help and aid your growth, they are just like the doctors, there to make sure that you're hitting the targets. The doctor put a chart on the wall, or the doctor give you a chart, and they say that, the baby should weigh this much at this date. The child should be this height at that date. It's a chart. And what is the chart? It's a measurable chart. How are you measuring your growth? And so that's what I believe a good mentor or coach or someone who can help you hit those gaps and close those gaps. That's number two. Number three, the timing gap. It's not the right time to grow. So that's a gap. Again, that gap is like this. Let me move my hand into the screen in the middle. Okay, here it is. That's the gap. The other hand. Okay, there it is. Watch this. It is not the right time to grow. Let me ask you a question. What is the right time? Every one of us are busy. Can I make a statement? And it's not, it may be a slightly hard statement, but it's one that I want to challenge you right here. I want to challenge you. Isn't it true, y'all? And be honest. We do what we want to do, and we find time to do what we want to do. And so we're going to close that gap. We're not going to say it's not the right timing, because the right time is right now. Watch this. Watch this. Listen to this. One day is not a day of the week. Wow. 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 The question, you got a question. How often do you have to study to grow? As often as needed for you to see the growth. Because you don't want to turn it into a rigorous, laborious type activity. Do it as often and as long as that it takes for you to feel like you've gotten something. Like, let's say you have a book and you may say, I'm going to read this book every day. I'm going to read this book for 3 hours every day. That might be a little rigorous, but you put yourself on a plan that it will allow you to just do it little by little. And as long as you are taking in the information, and you can see the growth. You can see the growth. So it's no cookie cutter for that. And so do it as often as needed without making it rigorous. You don't want to turn yourself off by doing it, but do it as often as needed, and you'll know how often you have to do it. So listen to this again. One day is not a day of the week. You have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't know. Let me ask you a question. Did they add a day in the week? Is there 8 days in the week now? And that's a question. It sounds funny, but that's a question. Is there an 8th day in the week called someday? So when you say what is the right time or it's not the right time, or one day I'm going to grow, one day or someday I'm going to do it. I'm going to write the book one day. I'm going to make the plan and the vision one day. I'm going to ... one day. One day is not a day of the week. Repeat that to yourself. Write that down. One day is not the 8th day of on the calendar. Okay. Number 4, and I'm almost wrapping it up. I know I have maybe 8, but I give you guys, I give you 4, and then I'll give you 4 next week. We'll do that. I give you 4, and then we'll give you another 4 next week. I don't want to keep you too long, but I do appreciate you guys logging on and spending your lunch break with me. Number 4, the mistake gap. What is that? I am afraid of growing. That's a mistake. Remember, we're trying to close the gap. We're trying to close the gap. The mistake gap is I am afraid of growing. And I get it. I totally understand it. But you can do way more than you would even imagine that you can do. Now, I want you guys to participate. If you want me to just keep moving, and I think I can do another 4 in the next few minutes, let me know. I want your participation. I believe I can give you the last 4 in the last few moments that we have. But don't make the mistake of being afraid. Deal with the fear. Here's a comforting thought. Fear is always here. Ooh, I'm going to say that again. Fear is always here. So you have to learn. Here it is, guys. You have to learn. Okay, I'll keep going. You have to learn to do it afraid. Wow. because especially as it relates to growing. And I understand. I know the reservation. I know the hesitation. I get it. But you can do more than you can imagine. That's why, again, guys, that's why I say all the time, and I will keep saying, get yourself a mentor, get yourself a coach, get yourself somebody who's been there, done that, and can show you the way. You don't have to do this alone. You don't have to be in this alone. And I'm telling you now, ticking at the bottom of the screen is the different ways that we can offer our assistance to help you close that gap. So here's what I'm going to do, guys. The mistake gap. Do not be afraid to grow. Face your fears, jump, leap, do it now, because one day is not someday. Someday is not one day, or it's not a day of the week. All right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm going to do exactly what you guys have requested. I'm going to keep going with the last 4, but I'm going to take this break. I have a product offer that we want to give you, and I'll be back in just a moment. My product offer today, again, for those that are looking at this for the first time, those that will log on to see this, I am so godly proud of this product. It's our book, our latest book, Between the Treatments. If you're looking for literature that can help assist you, again, even with the question that was just posed, doing it afraid, to help close those gaps, that book is a product that we know that can assist and help you with that. Ticking at the bottom of the screens is that book, as well as other products that we have that we know can help aid you in the process of your growing. Let's keep going, just like you guys requested. That was number 4. Let me give you number 5. Number 5, the perfection gap. Wow. I have to find the best way before I can start growing. No. You could find a way, but there is no such thing as perfection. That is, I can say, an assumption that is unfounded. There is no such thing as perfection. There is not a person walking the face of the earth that is perfect. So just find a way and build on it as you go. Jump and build your wings on the way down. I know that sounds scary, but that's a good, listen, it's how did most people learn to swim back in the day? They threw the child in the water, or they jumped in the water, or somebody else pushed them in the water. Just leap, jump. So the best way that you can do it is to jump in. So you don't feel like you have to find the best way before you can get started. Close that gap. Close that gap. Number 6, the inspiration gap. I don't feel like growing. You are more apt to start something, and then your emotions will follow. Listen to what I'm saying. If you wait on the perfect timing, if you wait on not being afraid, if you wait on the inspiration, the desire to do something, your mind will talk you out of it. Practice this. None of us want or feel like, none of us feels like we want to do certain things all the time. Let's use exercising. Let's use exercising as an example. The flesh doesn't like to exercise. So the flesh is not going to wake you up early in the morning and say, hey, you're supposed to be up already. We're supposed to be exercising. The flesh won't do. The flesh will tell you, sleep, eat the wrong things, go ahead on and take an extra 15 minutes, hit the snooze on the clock. That's what our flesh will tell us all the time. So you won't be inspired. That's a gap that's continually widening. So understand that you tell your feelings, your emotions, I may not feel like growing, but I'm going to now make a decision. I'm going to make a intentional decision to grow, and my feelings will get in line. Let your decision lead your feelings. Watch this, guys. My feelings is not going to lead me. My decisions, my thought, my intentionality is going to lead me. And then the feelings will follow. I hope that helps. And that's how you close the gap. You just close the gap. All of these things, closing the gaps, all of the things that we are giving you today, the 8 that I will give you and the 6 that I've already given you, you close the gap by being intentional. Your intentionality is how you can close that gap to growing. It's a hard decision. It's a reboot. It's a rewired. You have to be intentional because nothing just happened. They must be planned. Again, nothing just happened. It must be planned. And we have to tell our minds and our feelings and our emotions, we've made a decision to grow. And we want to put our bodies, minds, and heart on notice. We've set the calendar. We've gotten the material. And we are on the way. We're going to do it. There is no perfect timing. There is no perfect day. We're going to jump into it. We're going to jump and build our wings on the way down. Number 7, is this helping? I didn't ask you guys, but I want to pause for a second. We haven't been talking that much today, but while I have you on here live, is this helping you guys that's on? Let me know. Is this helping? Number 7, the comparison gap. Remember this, comparison kills. Competing and comparing will lead to complaining. I'm going to say it again. Comparing will lead to complaining. And let me add another. Comparing will lead to complaining and confusion and complications. Great. It is always helping. Great. Good to hear. So the comparison gap. It's like a horse race. The owner put the blinders on the horse to keep the horse focused so that the horse can be focused to keep moving. See, it says others are better than I am. Of course, if you keep looking ahead of you, there's a long line. You can look behind and there's a equally as long line behind you. Don't worry about the person to your right or your left, or how many are ahead of you and how many are behind you. Focus on your goal. Focus on what you want to accomplish, because you have to close the comparison gap. Remember this comparison gap. If you compare and compete, it will lead to complaining and confusion, and it will kill creativity. I'm going to say that again. If you're comparing, if you keep comparing, the gap will widen. If you keep comparing, the gap will widen. It will lead to complaining, competing. It will kill your creativity. It will limit you. You are the right person. You have what it takes. You have been endowed with creative ideas and thoughts, that business you want to start, that business you want to improve upon, whatever it is that you desiring to do with your life, your goals and your admirations and your dreams and your hopes and your desires. It's right there in front of you. Grab it. Reach out there and grab it. And I'll tell you, I'll be right there with you saying, hey, you can do it. I'll be the one clapping the biggest and the loudest for you. You can do it. You can make it. Don't worry about them. Don't worry about them over there. Don't worry about the days and the naysayers. Don't compete. Don't compare. And don't compare yourself with others. Final one, and we'll be done. Here's the final one. The expectation gap. I thought it would be easier than this. Isn't this the best way to close this one? How many times have we said that? Here's a question. Are you up for the challenge? John Maxwell says this all the time. Everything, watch my arm. I'll lean back a little bit. Watch my arm. It's going up. Everything worthwhile is uphill. Everything worthwhile is uphill. When we get that in our minds, we will begin to prepare for the journey. It's going to be challenging. Any and everything worthwhile is an uphill climb, an uphill journey. But the payoff, the rewards is absolutely phenomenal. So we're going to close the expectation gap, and we realize it may take a lot of work. It may take a lot of efforts, but you can do this. You have been built for this. You can start the business. You can write the book. You can write the movie script. You can buy the house. You can improve your credit. You can lose the weight. You can do it. I'm here. I'm Kenneth Antoine, and I am here. Ticking at the bottom of the screens is the products and my tool chest that is filled with programs and things that I know can aid you in closing that gap, that growth gap. Because either you're growing or you're dying. Either you innovate or evaporate. Y'all heard that before. Either you are innovative or you are evaporating. And I know you're not going to evaporate, because there is so much in you. So much in you. I appreciate you spending this half an hour with me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Lastly, and again, repeatedly, at the bottom of the screen is ticking the website. It's ticking at the bottom of the screens in the different ways that I know I can help you. I can be your coach. I can be your speaker. If you have events, whatever it is that you have, reach out to me. You can log on to that website and contact me, and I will be right there with a big smile on my face, ready to assist you and to help you. Thank you guys again so much for spending your lunch hour with me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Again, I'll see you guys on next time as we explore a little more. Thank you guys. With Leadership Lunch and Learn. You bring the lunch, I'll bring the lesson. I'll see you guys next week. Have an absolutely phenomenal day.